Hello there, it's Paul here, Bearded Badger Books. Welcome to the Friday feature, the last one for July. Um, that's only because it's the end of July. Anyway, what is the Friday feature? If you've not tuned in before, it's basically me waffling on about books, which I do every day in the bookshop generally, and to anybody with a set of ears. I just do it in front of a camera on a Friday. Anyway, without further ado, as they say, let's crack on. The first book I'm going to have a little waffle about is this one, Godspeed by Nickolas Butler. Uh, Came out yesterday. It's on hardback, 14.99 Faber. I was lucky enough to get a advanced copy of this from Angus Cargill at Faber, so I've read this and it's a great book. It's a really good novel. If you like character-driven novels that are, it's set in the US, sort of working class kind of guys, very much from the sort of Willie Vlorton sort of stable of writing, if you like. Which, if you've tuned into this before or you know me personally, you'll know I'm a huge fan of Willie Vlorton. So yeah, this is definitely along that sort of lines. So what's it about? Well, it's about three colleagues that, they're childhood friends actually. They then go on to set up a construction business, and they get awarded a big contract for a huge plush house, and it's sort of about friendship. It's about how these things can get sort of stressed when money's involved, particularly. There's a sort of dual narrative to the book in many ways, in that the lady that's having the house built, there's a backstory there that's really interesting, and sort of feeds into it. And the book actually, it's sort of, for the first half of the book, the pace is all about setting the scene, understanding the characters. You get a real good insight into the background. The three guys that are friends are very different characters. And then about halfway through the book, bang, something happens. I'm not going to reveal what it is, obviously, because no point buying the book then, would there? But something happens in the book and everything just switches on its head, and the tale takes off then from an almost different perspective. Really good book. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Real page turner. It didn't take me long to read at all. As I say, that one's came out yesterday, so it's hot off the press, as they say. Godspeed, Nickolas Butler. The next one I'm going to talk about, I haven't read, and that's this one. It is Frankie Miren, The Service, Influx Press. Another Influx Press book, you're saying? Are you sponsored by them? No, I'm not. But they just happen to be putting out some really good books, and I like talking about good books. So that one's $9.99 paperback. It's a book about the sex industry, and what I like about this, or what I like about what I've read about this, should I say, because I haven't read it, is I read a really good interview that Frankie did. I think it was in The Guardian, and she was trying to put across what sort of drove to write the book, and it was around changing the narrative towards the sex industry, particularly women's role within the sex industry as, I don't know if practitioners is the right word, but and how often in literature women within the sex industry, they're kind of, there is a sort of well-trodden narrative, isn't there, that one, they're either dead, so that's where it comes from, dead sex worker, or they're traumatized, or very much like played as part of, they're very much the victim in all of this, is one way of putting it. And while I Frankie's saying, well, that's not always the case. It is the case sometimes, quite a lot, but there's also other aspects to it. So she talks about the mundanity of being a sex worker, and the things like making sure that where your room where you're performing your trade is stocked with lube, condoms, gloves, plastic, rubber gloves, things like that. And I thought these are the things you don't really. It's a job at the end of the day, and it's this you know, attitudes do need to change towards the sex industry. I think here in the UK we're like miles behind, aren't we? You know, our friends and neighbours in the EU, but globally generally we just seem to be miles behind. I'm still stuck in them. I don't know when, but yeah, I loved what she had to say in the interview. And I like the sound of this book. You know, it says the service is a powerful, challenging novel about women's bodies, sex and relationships, mental health, entitlement, authenticity, privilege and power, as shocking as any dystopia, but touching and deeply humane. Now, if that don't make you want to read it, there's something wrong with you. So, yeah, really looking forward to getting stuck into that one. We've had it in the shop a couple of weeks now, and it's been a pretty decent seller. So, yeah, I'm good for that one. And then the last book I'm going to have a little waffle about is this one, which has just been reissued, I think, by Penguin on the Penguin Modern Classics. It's the Motorcycle Diaries by Ernesto Guevara. You'll know him as this guy, really, on T-shirts and, you know, very much, you know, Marxist thinking and obviously part of the Cuban Revolution with the Castro brothers. But this book's before all of that, precedes all of that, and it's almost a coming of age story in many ways, and it's a book about Ernesto, who came from quite an affluent family in Argentina, in Buenos Aires, and did you like how I said that? Anyway, he was quite affluent, and with his friend Alberto Granada, I think his name is, they basically take off on motorcycles across South America. He's a medical student at the time, and you know, it's very much a book about people. Again, it's very much about that interaction on a human level. Very much, it's very real. Actually, it's very real. There's a lot of drunken nights in there. So I say it's that sort of, as I say, coming of age. I think I already referred to once as very Jack Kerouac-esque. But without perhaps some of the pomposity. Anyway. But I kind of get that. Yeah, I kind of get that. I like Kerouac, but yeah, but great book. Not that thick, look, about 150 pages, I think it is. So well worth a read, and that one's out on Penguin, $9.99. That one is. So they're the 3 books for this week. What else has gone? Oh, we've had the book prize long list, haven't we? Fairly predictable, wasn't it? 1 or 2 omissions that, according, if you're looking on social media, you'll just see a lot of love for the Gwendolyn Riley book, which didn't make it, sadly. 1 or 2 other books that didn't make it, and you know, we'll see who gets shortlisted and then gets on to win it. So got 1 or 2 of those here in the shop, not all of them, if I'm honest. I tend to find hardbacks harder sellers, maybe, here in Belper. We launched the Bearded Badger bookshop online, where we've listed some of the books that we've got from our wonderful indie press network. We've had a good response to that initially, so that's great. Please go take a look, beardedbadgerpublishing.com. What we've done is we've split it out by publisher, so you can have a good browse who's publishing what, and we'll try and keep that as up, well, we'll keep it up to date, but as we get more books in and try and expand our repertoire of books from the wonderful indie press marketplace. So that's about it, I think, really. We've got some interesting stuff coming up on the publishing front. We're going to put out our next batch of poetry books soon on the Traverse imprint, so looking forward to that. And obviously we're going to open up for pre-orders for our next novel, Step Forward Harry Salt, pretty soon. I'm just waiting on finishing off the typesetting for that, so that we can get the pagination and what have you, and then we'll open that up, load up the ISBN and all that sort of stuff. And then might have a little flamingo-esque kind of secret coming out soon, so you'll have to watch this space for that one if you want to see a bit more flamingo in your life. And who doesn't, let's face it, who doesn't want one of these bad boys in the life. So yeah, that's everything that's going on here at Bearded Badger HQ. Have a great weekend, everybody. If you want to come down the shop, we're open today till 5, tomorrow 10 till 5. Stock up on a bit of holiday reading, loads of good stuff behind me here. So please come on down, and if I don't see you, have a great weekend. If not, I'll see you next week for some more Friday feature.